This time on Ask Ride Rat, we're going to talk about when you know it's time to hang it up for good and a bunch of other questions as well. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel where you can learn new things about skateboarding, and I talk about all different kinds of things in the skateboarding world, and I answer your questions on my series Ask Rad Rat. Got a few of them for you today. The first one is from Sean, who says, does a bigger spin have to have a 360-degree rotation of the body to count, or can you just do a 180 with a 540 shove it? All right, so I'm going to talk about all the big spin variations that there are. Keep in mind though, if you're new to skateboarding, there's no central body that decides these things. Stuff has a name because people called it that and it caught on, you know? So there's some weird stuff that doesn't make sense a lot of the times. Sometimes something you just made up last night to name something will actually make more sense than the official name that got out, you know? So don't get too hung up on a lot of this stuff, but I'll tell you how it works. So a normal big spin, board does a 360, your body does the regular 180. Used to be a 360 big spin would be the board doing a 540 and you just spinning a normal 180. Now we call that a 540 big spin. So you have a normal big spin, a 540 big spin. If you do a 360 while the board does a 540, that's called a gazelle. And that is a really old name, goes back to the early 80s, maybe in late 70s, I don't know. And so you have, you know, regular gazelles, front side gazelle, whatever. It's a gazelle if you do a 540, if the board does 540 and you do a 360. I've heard if you do a 360 and the board does a 720, people call that a lion because it's a step up from a gazelle, right? You get it? I will just call it a 720 gazelle because that kind of makes sense, right? So you got big spin, 540 big spin, gazelle, 720 gazelle. You could do a 720 big spin. The board does a 720 while you only spin a 180. And those are all the spinning things. But I'll throw in a couple freebies for you. If you do a front side spin while the board does a backside shove it, that's called a caster aerial. At least that's what we call it on forums back in the day. Again, with names, it's just whatever. Call it a pop shove it body varial, I guess. That was another one. A twisted flip was a varial kickflip with a front side body varial. You had a 360 flip with a 360 body varial. Front side was called a mother flip. Again, this is just like someone did it once on a forum, posted a video, a name got out, and whatever. Like, does anyone else remember these other than me? I don't know. But yeah, so like I'm saying, there's a lot of weird names. If you follow the barracks, a lot of times they'll post something weird and they'll say, hey, does anyone have a name for this? And people will come up with names, you know, like they'll want to name it like the lion flip or whatever. But sometimes it makes a lot more sense to just have a descriptive name that people can understand. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. My next question is from me, who says, what's your favorite color? Please answer. Thought that was funny. I like emerald green or cerulean blue. Cerulean blue was my favorite crayon when I was a kid. All right, next question is from Drake, who says, I was at the skate park today and I feel like I discovered a skate paradox. I was standing on the deck and my friend rolled in and we couldn't agree whether it was a front side or backside roll-in. My thinking that rolling over the coping to your front side is a front side roll-in, but everything says otherwise. And then he goes on to ask if his brain is broken. So my opinion is just my opinion as well, but I think your friends are right. So what he's talking about is like if you're on the top of a ramp, like a mini ramp or a pool or a half pipe or whatever, and you're rolling along the coping and you drop in like that, which way is front side and which way is backside? So to me, he's saying if he rolls up and the coping is in front of him and he rolls over it this way, that would be front side, but everyone else calls it backside. I think the reason you call it backside, and this is the way I agree with, is imagine if you went up for a backside 50-50, right? And you were going a little bit too fast, you cleared the coping and you rolled alongside the coping and you went back in. That would have been a backside 50-50, but you aired out too far. When would that have become a front side roll-in? So like, I get where you're coming from. You're rolling up to the ramp in front of you, that's front side. But it feels like a backside once you get into the ramp, because it's as if you were landing a backside trick. Like you're carving backside once you get in. So I don't know, dude. I don't know how often this comes up, but I would say your friends were probably right on that one. All right. Next question is from Jalen, who says, would freestyle wheels that are offset be any good for street or vert? Let me go grab some. Okay, I'm back, and I grabbed a freestyle wheel. This is from the company called Mode. They do a lot of freestyle stuff, freestyle decks, wheels, skid plates, stuff like that. And the point of this, like you said, is offset. So the bearing is really close on this side. On this side, the bearing is really inset. Point of that is that it covers the nut on the axle so that it doesn't get banged up when you're on the rail, you know. So that's the whole point of it. But does this work well for street? Kind of. I mean, they're not bad. But there's a reason why street wheels evolved to be what they did, where they're thinner. Because you don't want too much grip, right? You don't want to have to land perfectly straight. You can land and slide out a little bit, or doing like crooked grinds where your one wheel is pinched and it's sliding along, blunt slides, whatever, anything like that. You don't want too much grip. You want enough that you can turn without sliding, but you want the board to slide when you want it to slide. So freestyle wheels, sure, you can do any trick you can on a street board on a freestyle wheel, but it's not perfect for it. It's not the ideal. It's not designed for that. It's designed to cover up the axle and to give you a more solid basis for doing like flips out of rail. So yeah, that's the point of it. For vert, again, you want big wheels. They're meaty, you want grip. So the wideness is probably a good thing, but you just want to be really big so you don't lose speed. The bigger your wheel is, the less hard your bearing has to work. For every rotation carries you further on a bigger wheel. These are, I don't remember how big they are. I think they're like 55s or something like that. They're relatively big, but in vert you can get it into the 60s, no problem. But they are wide, so they got more grip that way, which a lot of vert wheels do. These are also soft. These are 95A, I think. Like you can kind of squish them a little bit in your fingers, which could be nice. So, you know, for an overall, if you want to do street and vert, you could try freestyle wheels and you might do okay. It's just not going to be perfect for anything other than freestyle. You know, that's kind of the whole point of it. So hopefully that answers your question. Next question is from Danny G, who says, I've been skating for 18 years. Me too. I broke my femur bone in 2018. Should I call it quits or wait a few years and get back on? I've seen other pros who have recovered, aka Sean Malto. Once again, he has sponsors and is getting paid, but same time he was out of the game for a few years. What do you think? I think that you should do what you love. If you really love skateboarding and it does something for you and you enjoy it and it helps you in some way, a lot of people talk about how skateboarding helps clear their mind. It's their artistic outlet. It's the thing that keeps them like healthy, keeps them exercising and all that kind of stuff. If you love skateboarding, then find a way to do it. Maybe you won't be at the level you were anymore, but that's okay. You're doing skateboarding for the love. I don't know what it's like to recover from a broken femur. I feel like it would probably heal the way it was and you'd be okay and you'd be able to skate as well as you were before. But even if you can't, that doesn't mean you can't go out there and still have some fun. Like me, my joints are pretty bad. My knee was terrible for about 5 years. And that's when I could barely ever skate. I'd go out for about 10 minutes and I'd limp home. It was terrible for about 5 years. So a lot of my tricks were gone. Right now, I can skate, depending on the day, I can skate for either a couple hours or 15 minutes. Sometimes my knees will just hurt really bad for no reason. Like I solved the problem that made my one knee really bad. So sometimes I go out and I can skate as long as I want and it's perfectly fine. Other days it's bad. So like where I am skill-wise compared to where I used to be, I was never amazing at skateboarding, but I could do a lot of tricks and I could do some pretty consistently too. Now, like I'll go out there and I can do a kickflip and I can do a pop shove it and I can probably do a 360 flip. I can do an impossible. That one's kind of easy for me, but like I can do all kinds of stuff, but I'm not as good as I used to be. And like I can go to a skate park and I can see a kid who's 10 years old doing a trick that I couldn't possibly do. And it kind of does suck. Like I don't like being the worst person at a skate park because I'm just too hurt to skate more. Like even if I had that skill before, even if I had that talent, I could never be as good as this little kid over here just because I can't skate for very long, you know? And it sucks, but you know what? I still get something out of skateboarding. I still enjoy it. I still love that feeling when you land a trick and you roll away and you worked on something and finally, boom, bolts, and you're rolling away from something. That feeling is good no matter what level the trick is at. Maybe it used to be you kick flipping down a bunch of stairs. Now it's going to be you doing like a pop shove it to fakie on a bank or something like that. You know, you still get that feeling, you still get that enjoyment. You're still out there, you're getting your fresh air, you're having fun with your friends. If you have any, I don't, but like that stuff is all there regardless of whether you had to scale it back or not. So if you still get that enjoyment, if it's still something you crave, still something you feel that feels right for you, then do it. If it doesn't, then don't. Nobody's forcing you to go out and skate. If the fear of getting hurt again is a big thing, if all of your friends have, you know, they've all got kids now and no one wants to skate anymore and you'll just be out there doing it by yourself and you can't do the tricks you used to and it's really getting you down, then don't do it. Nobody's making you. But if that love is there, if it's something you still enjoy, then keep skating. So that's my thoughts on that. If you have any more questions for me, go to redratvideo.com and you can submit it there. You can also submit them on Patreon and I will answer them one way or another if they're on there. My logo in the center of the screen will allow you to subscribe. If you tap that, I've also got some Google recommended videos in the sidebar for you as well. Thank you for watching.